Hi, my name is Julie. I work for the Aurora Public Library System.
And I'm Michael. I'm an aerospace engineer.
And this week on Look Up Aurora, we're going to be talking about solar cycle. And so since we're talking about the sun, we thought we would skip our normal slide where we show you the night sky tonight. Because what should you never, ever, ever do, Michael?
Look at the sun.
Don't ever look at the sun with your naked eye.
Not even a little.
And even through a telescope, you have to have a special filter to look at it through a telescope. So that is why we're not talking about the night sky first tonight, because what do we never do?
Look at the sun.
Never look at the sun, it's bad. Cool things about the sun. Our sun is a yellow dwarf star, which all suns are actually stars. And many call our sun Sol, which is pretty cool. That's where you get like solar system, which I thought was pretty interesting. So the sun is about 4.6 billion years old. That is billion with a B. We do not have to worry about the sun because it still has another 4.5 to 5.5 billion years left of life in it. So yes, while the sun will eventually burn up and kind of like die out just like all stars do, we will all not be here when it happens. So
it's about 50% of its life. Still under warranty. One of the cool ways you can see the sun is the Solar Dynamics Observatory. We have a whole host of satellites staring at the sun all the time. It's a very difficult job, lots of radiation and everything else. And so you can actually go and look at the SDO live on their website, and you can see what our sun looks like in the various cameras and instruments that they have pointed at it.
SDO actually has a ton of really cool free materials on there for families. Family Science Night, and they have science experiments on there that they do. So definitely check them out if you guys are looking for something really cool to do with the family that's space related, and it's all free.
Family Science Night, so when the sun's not out,
yes,
then
we learn about the sun. It's a bright idea.
Our solar cycle, it happens every 11 years, very repeatable, and it's the sun's magnetic field flipping. Now, the Earth, the magnetic field's flipped a few times. It takes a very long time for that to happen. For the sun, it happens every 11 years. And so right now we are ending our current solar cycle.
So you can see from the picture on the screen that our current solar cycle started back in 2010.
So here's our video. This is an animation of our sun's magnetic field flipping, and so you can see that the pink and the green slowly flip over onto the other side of the sun, and while that's doing it, all the magnetic field lines are very chaotic, and they're going everywhere, and they're causing all sorts of havoc on the sun. As the magnetic field flips, we get solar flares. So anytime those magnetic fields tangle, we kind of lose containment and we eject material out into space and release radiation. Sometimes that radiation is coronal mass ejection, so ejecting mass, and that can cause interruptions in satellites and interruptions in the power grid. And I've actually had the opportunity to test microprocessors in a beam that simulates solar radiation and write software to try to prevent it from causing you to lose communication.
So yes, while the eruptions sometimes do cause chaos kind of here on Earth with radio and electronics and things like that, we also get the auroras, which are really, truly beautiful. So
Aurora, I've heard that name before.
I know, I've heard it somewhere. So sunspots. And we don't mean the ones on your face, but we mean those sunspots that are actually on the sun. So during the solar cycle, there are sunspots that happen. And this is because of the sun's magnetic fields are so strong that it actually kind of causes these cold spots on the surface of the sun. Now, when I say cold, I actually mean 6,500 degrees Fahrenheit. That's cold for the sun, so not a vacation spot. But they make these sunspots, and the sunspots actually happen in the middle of the solar cycle. And so if you see in the picture here that during the middle of the solar cycle we have more sunspots than we do at the beginning and the end of the solar cycle. And so you can kind of see like they fade as the cycle kind of ends and the poles stabilize.
And I'd like to talk a little bit about scientists are being very literal. When there's a hole in space and you can't see any light come out of it, it's a black hole. When there's a spot on the sun, we call it a sunspot. And when there's a big red spot on Jupiter, we call it the big red spot.
The book that we're going to recommend this week is a classic, Cosmos by Carl Sagan. And of course, Carl Sagan has the show Cosmos. There are a couple of other books out there with the same title of Cosmos, and then Neil deGrasse Tyson, who we've talked about previously, also had a show Cosmos on there. But it's a really great place to go and just learn more about celestial bodies like the sun. And so it is available in the nonfiction section of the Aurora Public Library, or you can order it through Prospector. And we don't have the Cosmos DVDs through Prospector, or through in the library, but you can order those through Prospector as well. Spooky time is coming, and I absolutely had to share this picture with you guys. I found this on the NASA website. This is the pumpkin sun, proving that scientists do have lots of fun. So the pumpkin sun is from October 8th of 2014, and essentially the way the sun looked this one day just really reminded scientists of jack-o'-lantern. And so they took a whole bunch of pictures, and the pumpkin sun was born.
So when we have spots on the sun, we call them sunspots, and we have holes where no light is. We call those black holes, and when the sun looks like a pumpkin, we call it the pumpkin sun. Those scientists are pretty crafty.
Yes, so you've got your pumpkin spice, you've got your pumpkin bread, and now you have the pumpkin sun. So fall is perfect, and fall is upon us. Now, there are some really cool images of the pumpkin sun on the NASA website you guys should check out. They put different filters on them so that you can see them through like different UV light. That's really cool. You guys should all check them out.
The scientists are always looking at the different parts of the sun and all the different instruments pointed out because they can tell us different information.
And of course, while you're poking around the internet looking at the pumpkin sun, check out everything else on the NASA website, the Denver Astronomical Society site. There are tons of other astronomy clubs in Denver, and we always recommend that crash course in astronomy from Crash Courses. With that, we want to thank you guys so much for joining us, and we hope you all have a great week.
Thank you, and keep looking up, Aurora.